This podcast is brought to you by Hoare Chartered Accountants. Hoare Chartered Accountants are based in Galway City and are a leading provider of audit, accountancy and taxation services. For more information, visit hoarecharteredaccountants.ie. You're welcome along to the Maroon and White pod. So over the weekend, the Galway Hurlers recorded their third victory in a row after they narrowly defeated Wexford down in Wexford Park. And the big one coming up now this weekend is against Limerick on Saturday night in the TUS Gaelic grounds. But before we do that, the last few weeks we've been releasing the various club hurling managers for this season coming up. So just firstly, for the senior club hurling managers this year, we'll just run through them briefly. So Ardra and Francis O'Connor takes over there. Athenry stick with Niall Sunderland. Stephen Craven is over Captagal. Matty Murphy back with Castlegar. Ian Daniels with Craughwell again. David Ford is over Clarenbridge. Brian Regan takes over in Gort. James Burke takes over as well in Kilkenny. Dermot Earls in Clymer Daly. Frank Enright takes over his native club, Mycullen. Tommy Kelly is back with the county champions again, Loughrea. Then Brian O'Connell, who was a selector with Oranmore Mary for the last few years, he's with them for another year. Well, he was there last year as a selector, but he's now manager. Francis Madden is the Sarsfields manager. Cathal Daly, who's been involved with Thomas's over the last few years, steps up from selector to manager. Niall Kelly back with Tommy Larkins again, and Darren O'Shaughnessy and Brian Holland continue as Turlockmore joint managers. Cyril, just from looking at that, 10 clubs in the Senior Hurling Championship sticking with the same manager. Not a massive amount of changes this year.
Yeah, well, like it's probably good to stick with the same. Like usually, you have to have 2 or 3 years done, they might go. But after a year, like Paul, it's a bit soon to leave. And I think a lot of the time the clubs get rid of fellas like too quick. They might have a good year and think they should have gone further, because usually it takes a few years for a manager to get to really know the players. You'd imagine they know them inside out, but like it's a different thing when they're under pressure. Like, and most clubs are doing well. Years ago to be kind of a competition, but that day is gone. Like, you're doing well to get good fellas involved, because it's a big commitment. It's a few nights a week and the weekend, and between kind of challenge games and league games and analysis and all this sort of stuff. It takes an amount of time. Like, so, like anyone that goes into management, fair play to them. Like, because it's not an easy gig, and at the end of the day, there's only going to be one winner.
I suppose a couple of the big ones there, Cyril. Brian O'Connell, who guided Clare to All-Ireland Minor Championship against Galway, he takes over in Oranmore Mary, and Cathal Daly replacing Kenneth there and Thomas's as well.
Yeah, well, you see, Cathal has been a good fight with Thomas. With no to see, and you'll find that he'll get a kind of a top coach in. Bach O'Connell, like, was a great player with Clare, like, and would know the ins and outs of Oranmore. He's a good one as well. Like, he'll be a big help. But it's getting very professional. Like, you see all the teams now, they have statsmen and strength and condition and physios and dietitians, and the backroom team is getting bigger and bigger. They're all looking for the extra inch, and that's what it probably takes to win. Like,
and you're one of the clubs, Craig, that's changed this year.
Yeah, it changed. Brian was involved last year. He was a selector. He's only back in London, so yeah, Brian stepped up to the plate, and he's brought Paul Lay and Conor Helbert along with him. So 2 ex players. But it's very hard to get people, like, and start touching it there. Like, it's a massive commitment. It's as big now as a player, and even more so the time they put in before and after training, and all the meetings that come with it. So it's hard to get people. We've a fairly big presence across the whole 16 there. You mentioned Paul, there's a few Gort lads mentioned there. I know Evan Kilroy's involved with Bach O'Connell there in Oranmore as well. Evan is a Gort man, but obviously living in Oranmore now, so he's involved with when he finishes up with the Galway minors with Kenneth, he's getting involved in Oranmore. So Francis Connor is a Gort man managing Ardra, so it's across the board there. But it's a hard post, and I agree with Sir. Like, it's too common now in club management, where managers are only getting a year or two, and they're getting thrown out by players, and players have control over it for so long. And like, any manager know what their salt needs 2 or 3 years minimum to, as long as they can stick it to prove a point. So it's great to see so many managers, as you mentioned, 10 back in the same spot again. It's great to see, because that's not a common thing these days.
It's really shown how hard it is to get a manager, because even if you look to Senior B, managers this year. Matty Kennedy's obviously with Teen Aberdeen, Sean Tracy with Port Humna, Shane Raftery with Port Pierce's, David Collins over Lee Meadows again, Mike Geraghty and David Spellman continuing Kilnadeem and Leitrim, Keith Conley continues with Ballandreen, and then Asker Phone at Jimmy Brown's there. But you just look at one club here, Mulla, don't have a manager yet to be ratified and confirmed. This shows how hard it is to get managers, Craig, when you even take Mulla, we're so close, even last year, to surviving up in senior.
Yeah, like look, there's only a buck of the ball in like so. It just shows how it can go. Like I'm sure if they had stayed up, it would have been an awful lot easier. Or maybe Connor and the lads would have stayed on there with Mulla. But look, I suppose every manager this year then as well. The appeal is that unlike the last 5 years or 6 years, Thomas's aren't the champions going in for the first year in a long time, and that's definitely appealing to every club. And I'm sure every club is looking at Loughrea and saying that maybe we can get their Capitagle more so. Like the Capitagle probably weren't even in the top 6 or 8 at the start of the year, and they got a good run of it. And we're very close to causing a big upset in the county final. And I know he spoke about backroom teams there, like, but again, I think Loughrea have just took it to another level this year or last year in terms of backroom team. Like the way they brought the structure they had and the amount of lads they had involved and the levels of I suppose experience that they had there with it. Like, and I was only talking to Gavin Keary the last day; he's back involved, and like it's just that's where every management team strives to be, to have that level of experience there. Like they have 6 or 7 lads there with intercounty experience, and it's just that's what it takes now. Like to win a county championship, I think, and that's like it's gone past the day now. Sort of tell you better than I would, but it's gone past the day where you have a manager and selector, manager and 2 selectors. Like there's nearly a man for every line now, and there's coaches on the day for forwards and backs, and there's a like once upon a time the county team was the only one with a kit man or someone that was doing the fruits and sweets in the day. Like nearly every club team has it now, like and a physio and a doctor on the day. So it's gone to that extreme, and that's the level of it. And club level is now what county was 15, 20 years ago, and I think that's the level every team needs to get there, and that's not just for senior A or senior B. Like intermediate is the exact same way. Like, and that's the way it is, and you'd wonder what's right and what's wrong because it's a great cost to every club if it's going external. So it's great to see. It's great to see there's so many ex players now getting involved as well. Like even with intermediate, there the first 2 players you mentioned. There's David Collins and there's another ex-player there as well, straight in. So it's good to see ex-players from all clubs get involved as well. That's very good to see instead of clubs spending a fortune and bringing external people in.
Do you think it's as appealing when you look at Senior B to be a manager now, Cyril? When you look, we could be in for a possible restructure with it turning to 16 teams now being in Premier Intermediate. If you're one of these teams that don't get up from Senior B this year, you're going to be caught into that Premier Intermediate then.
Yeah, well, the only thing is, Paul, if you get that Premier Intermediate and win it, you compete in the All Ireland series. You know, like so, it's something they aim for, or they like. Which used to be say Senior B. You know, when you're in the B, if you win it, it's great, you're up there, but you don't get into an All Ireland series. Whereas if it's called Premier Intermediate, whatever name Intermediate, Premier Intermediate, whatever put on it, you're entitled to go into the championship. You know, and it's lovely for a team when they win a county title to have a rattle at the All Ireland Championship, like to see how far they can go, like, you know, and like this year, like Loughrea went very near against Nafina, Teen Abbott and I in the B went very near, or with the intermediate went very near getting over the line, you know, only a puck of a ball against Watergrass Hill. So like you'll find that all the sections in Galway, all the different grades will hold their own. But as it stands at the moment, like, you know, the Senior B, you can win it, but there is no competition like outside the county. So if they change that, like if they're what they're thinking of, like is to change, say, to Premier Intermediate and kind of just change the title, it gives them a chance of competing for it. I don't know whether it be past a congress or a convention, but the clubs will have a talk about it. I suppose every club will be fighting their own, they'll be looking at their own way. But you know, if you do win the Senior B to be you know, the intermediate, to be nice going to an All Ireland grade in it.
Yeah, what you'd have in the Premier Intermediate is the 7 teams who don't go up, obviously, from Senior B this year, the team who's relegated from Senior, and then the next top 8 teams in Intermediate but the second teams won't be included, the likes of a Turlockmore second team or any of those clubs in this Premier Intermediate grade. They'd automatically go to junior with the other 8 teams there. So that's how it works. I think the clubs are to vote on it this week, and then however the vote goes. Would you see it as a positive if we do go with senior, Premier Intermediate, and then junior, sir?
Yeah, I think I would. I know every club is fighting their own corner. Someone like to get called into like intermediate and try to hold their senior status. But like, I think if it was given a few years trial, I think it would work. Like, and people that buy into it, and definitely the team that had come out winning would have a right crack at their championship. Like, I just think it's nice to have an All Ireland series. A lot of like Tip do it that way. A lot of the counties do it that way. But like, it's up to the clubs to vote on it now. Like, and there'll be canvassing going on with it. It's just hard to know, but I wouldn't mind seeing it now. But there'll be clubs that won't want it because they won't want to kind of be deemed like Premier Intermediate.
Probably will be a positive because there probably is a gap between the top intermediate teams and even the teams competing towards the bottom. There probably is a bit of a gap there as well at the minute.
Oh yeah, to tighten the gap and to make everything very competitive.
Yeah.
Like there's no doubt about that.
Just then, before we get on to the Galway game, just on the intermediate managers, then Liam Gordon, he takes over Anna Down. The Flaherty brothers, Brian and Paul, are over Abbey Knockboy this year. Dermot O'Halloran is Athenry manager. John Hanley continues in Ballygare. Shane Morris takes over his local club. Declan Walsh will look to build with Carnmore. Colin Rooney's over Crockwell. Peter Burke is the Clembridge manager. Mike Finn takes over Kilbeganty. Aidan Ryan is the new Climber manager. Michael Helbert will look to go one step further with Kinvara this year. Niall Lynch over Meath Aircourt. Chunky Hayes is the new Rahoon Newcastle manager. Desi O'Brien over Skahana Montbellew. Ronan Higgins continues in Ceylon, and Nigel O'Kane takes over Turlockmore's intermediate team as well. A lot of ex-players too involved there in the intermediate grade, Craig.
There is, yeah, and some players that are not long finished at all. So look, that's good to see as well. And I suppose just on your point there with the senior B and the Premier Intermediate, the other side of that as well as the senior B, with only 8 teams and only one team going up, it's going to be very repetitive in who we play every year if it stays senior B. Like, you only have that 8 or maybe one might come up from intermediate. So if it changes to 16, at least you're getting more, there's more chance of you playing different teams each year. So I think, and I think that Tina proved, like Tina are a very strong intermediate team. Like that's a bit of a freak where Tina are going to get to the final in Galway, like as the 25th best team in Galway. So, but there as you list them out, yeah, it's good to see a lot of ex-players. I said, yeah, like some of them, like Brian and Paul Flair, like I presume they're going to be player managers because
Yeah.
they're still their main players in Abbey, like and like Niall Lynch. Niall is only the same age as me, like so with Aircourt. So, there's a lot of them players that are not long retired or in the Fla's case still playing, like so. It just shows as well how hard it is to get lads.
There's a bit of moving around too there. Even Desi O'Brien with Climber last year, going over now to Scanham on Bellew. Aidan Ryan, who's been with Climber Daily for years, going in with Climber too. They'll be interesting management teams as well.
Yeah, and in all fairness, Aidan has a good bit of experience. He's with the Galway under 15s as well there for the last couple of years, and he did well with Climber Daily. She was training last year when they beat us, and Aidan's a good lad. So Climber very lucky to get him there as well, and Desi's the same way. Desi's good food. Desi's 3 years on with Climber, and obviously brought them up before they went back down, and like he's a good bit of experience there, and he'll be a good plus for Skahano. Montpellier are a very progressive team and a team that I expect to do very well in the coming years and be very close to win that intermediate championship.
Just as well, because there was a good few bits happening for the Galway Wexford game at the weekend. The Croke Cup semi-finals, Pres Athenry were successful, defeating St. Kieran's Clare Galway College, just coming up short against Thurles CVS. But overall, on a Galway hurling context, to have two Galway schools competitive in Croke Cup semi-finals, Cyril, it is a massive positive.
Oh yeah, it shows how strong the colleges are. It's great to see, like, and after I've been battling for a lot of years to win. I think it's their first time to beat Kieran's in a senior, like in that level. But they've been around a long, long time and battling hard, and they have a very good team. They're to be slight favourites, I'd say, to beat Thurles CBS. But the surprise team, like starting from the start of the season would have been Clare Galway. Like, they surprised everyone and they had a very good campaign, and like, for a new school, it was a big breakthrough. Like, and even though they were beaten, their performance, like, they left it on the pitch. Like, they felt that they didn't perform at all in the Connacht final. At the right, kind of, they probably knew them too well and maybe gave them too much respect. But by God, they performed against Kilkenny CBS and against Thurles CBS. Nothing in the game. It was tit for tat until I think Thurles won in by about 4 points, but there was actually nothing in it. And it shows you, like, that kind of senses have won their. They're in the B, have won their semi-final. Indies were beaten in extra time. It shows you, like, that there's a lot of school teams that we have known, like, say, Kieran's Pool and all the kind of players into one school, kind of a hurling school, but we have a lot of hurling schools, and you'd have 1 or 2 or 3 top players in each school, like, which is great. You get more coming through that way, and like, you'll find that all with majority of the under 20 team with Fergal Healy this year will be coming out with, say, leaving certs and that in all the colleges. You'll have 1 or 2 from a lot of the places. Saw young lad there playing for Clare Galway, lad called Colin centre forward, and very, very good in there, which is unusual for a Galway player. Brilliant in there against Kilkenny CBS, and they're the type of lads. Joe Rabbit, a young lad, Jason Rabbit, big man, good in there as well. Lean, good in there. These guys are. It's great to see lads coming through, especially forwards that are good in there, because it's a thing we don't seem to have. But these boys are a bit different, and I'd expect them. They should be a very strong under 20 team.
Just with that, it was a huge monkey off the back for Pres Athenry to beat Kieran's as well. You mentioned there, Cyril. First time
Yeah.
they've beaten them, but even in the manner they bet them, it was very impressive.
Yeah, well, like, they got completely on top, but they have the scoring power, like, and they're very good up the middle. You'd have to say, and I'd like to have a lovely team. Now, they often have great teams, but you can be lucky or unlucky. Kieran's this year, Paul, wouldn't be as strong as last year. Only about 2 of the team from last year. Last year was a strong team. They'll have a strong team next year, because most of the lads that played this year, I think there's 13 or 14 of them there again next year. Every kind of, you wouldn't have it every year, but like, they're still hard to beat. Thurles will be hard to beat as well. Like, they have a lot of tip X minus, but it's up to, like, I don't think Athenry will ever get a better chance. And with young Nyland back in the frame, maybe he won't be starting, but if they need him, he can come on, and he's a top forward as well. Like, he's just that bit different. But they have a good team without them. Like, this young O'Brien there does a lot of work. Coonan centre back, they're good. Like, young Murphy full back, like, he's small yet, but he's a great little hurler, and out in front, Cannon and goals. Like, they have a good balanced team, and I would say the field, this is their year, if you know what I mean. They're just kind of they're pushing teams out the gate really with big scores, and if they can keep that form up, they should come home victorious.
With that, Craig, as well, fantastic to see Aaron Island return as well over the weekend.
Yeah, it was great to see him back and get his 15, 20 minutes in. Like, and it's been a long road since the first time he got injured. Must be over a year now. Bar the little cameo for Clarenbridge that day we injured the second time, and like, it's a really good Pres team. Like, and if they do go on to win it, like, they definitely did it the hard way, beat the Flannans in the quarter final and Kieran's in the semi final. So, but it is a very strong spine. Like, and you've 3 lads in an inter-county panel. It's a rare occasion, like, that there'll be still 3 lads in a school team on the county panel. So Jason Rabbit, Sean Murphy, and Aaron will be a big part to play for Mihal in the next 3 to 4 or 5 years, and they'll definitely have a long career ahead of them for Galway. And that day, obviously, they played Flannans over in Gort that day. Talking to Cyril over there, and Jason Rabbit was absolutely outstanding. So he was unbelievable in the second half, and he caught great ball, and he's the height and physicality of Joe, but he's so much skill, and like, he's a real handful. Like, and at 19 years of age, like, cause any man in club championship or in inter-county in the next year or two bother. Like, he's a real hard worker. So it's great to see, like, and like, along with Kieran and Aaron, they really are a threat. Like, and I expect them to win that final against Thurles.
Isn't it interesting already? Paul Hubban over the Pres Athenry team, and he's overseeing the Galway under 19 development squad as well. Like, to have that link of a post-primary manager now, and he's, I suppose, providing that link and a development squad from the players who aren't necessarily going from minors straight to 20s.
Yeah, it's good to see. Like, and when you see, he knows what's happening. All these boys in there, Colin Larkin, Pádraig Breheny, these guys, they have to be there for a good few years. They're all teaching. Like, you'd have to be fair to the teachers, Paul. Like, in all the schools, they're putting a lot of work back into the hurling, and all these guys are kind of playing club hurling and are leading players in their own. Either they're playing or kind of administration in their clubs, and like, they're putting it back in at school levels as well. Like you had Colin Phillips, Cyril Donlan, these fellows. Grady, all these lads in Claregalway as well. In all the schools, like this fella's putting in savage work, and even the schools that aren't going to win, like the schools with the big numbers, like and getting from hurling areas, they would have an advantage. But like it's great to see all the work going in all the different grades, like and like the likes of having Paul Hooban involved, like he's playing himself the whole time. Probably will be playing again for Loughrea this year anyway, and like heavily involved, say over managing Athenry, but that's what you want to like, and you have Cathal Moore there as well. All these, it's great that these fellas are putting it in. You have the same, say, in Rayfields. You have Freddie Ford, these boys, Sean Parr, John Hardiman. They're all teaching, but they're very much, say, pro GA, which I think all we're very lucky to have, because to me, like at the moment, even though they have development squads, but to me the real development is in the secondary school. They're coming out of that, say, as young men, like they're not minors anymore. The under 17 is kind of like a glorified juvenile, but these lads are up on the 19, 18 and a half, 19 years of age, and they're the future under 20s, really. Like they're ready for road, like, and there's a bright future if they're minded and looked at and properly looked after, which I think they will be.
Yeah, as we mentioned there, Claregalway obviously lost the Croke Cup semi-final. Cala Sanchez won the B semi-final, so they're in the All-Ireland B final. And then just commiserations to St. Enda's, who were beaten after extra time in the All-Ireland C semi-final against Boyne Community School. And then Mercy College Woodford were beaten then in the D semi-final as well. So we had 5 Galway schools, so a tremendous achievement to have 5 Galway schools involved there over the weekend. Moving on to Galway's victory over Wexford at the weekend. Not necessarily pretty at stages, but got the job done in the end, come away with another 2 points, and that has to be the biggest positive for Galway, Craig.
Yeah, without a doubt, the senior out, it's always a tough place to go. It's been a bit of a graveyard for Galway hurling for the last couple of years, in particular the league. So, look, it was nice to get it. It's a nice heads up before the championship game in Salthill May, and I'm sure that'll be one I was in that for me all the last day. Like, but look, he has to be delighted with how things are gone the last day, and in particular last 3 games. 6 points on the board out of a possible 8 didn't look like it was going to be that case after the first day against Tipperary, and he's blooded through. I think it was 36 players used in the league, so it's a big number. A lot of new faces, but with that, he's starting to see a settled team taking a pattern now as well. In particular, the last day, starting to see a pattern come to the team. He's tried loads of new faces. Some of them are staying, like Anthony Burns again. Another one won the last day, so he's one that stands out in particular. But Neil has to be happy with how things are going. Like, and again, Gavin Lee is starting to settle into 6th. So a few of the key positions he was looking for, with a few lads still to come back. And I think that's the main. I was talking to him actually only last Wednesday week before the game, and he just mentioned he doesn't really care how the league goes as long as everything's going in terms of blooding and getting players up to speed. And so he has to be happy with how things are going. And look, he has to be happy heading down to Limerick on Saturday evening, and basically off the back of 3 wins, you have absolutely nothing to lose, and just go at it. It's definitely safe anyway. So it's all out now against Limerick, and try and get that over the line and have a free shot at Cork in the last game.
When we look at the overall context so far of the league, even to get like 3 victories in a row is huge for this team. Even when you consider last year, like we struggled to get 3 victories in a row, sir.
Ah, yes, fantastic. The team has really settled down, and as Greg there has alluded to it, like it's great to get 3 wins and they can have a free shot Saturday evening. Now, I don't know what teams say either side's put out, but Limerick need a win. Like after, most people would think that they'd beat Clare at home. They didn't. They had a good team enough out. Now Clare the stronger team out, but like it was a right good hard game, and like Clare always said, it was up to Limerick, which was a good one. But now I think they'll be twice as hard to beat for Galway in the sense that they'll feel they have to win. But Micheál is in a great position because like he's got his 6 points, so he's safe, and so he can have a free shot. I would love to see them keep him winning, because it'd be nothing wrong with Galway winning the league, like, because they're playing nice stuff, like, and they begin to settle down. Fintan Burke, when he has 2 good cornerbacks with him, like, he's beginning to settle in. Darren Morrissey, it's great to see him back from injury, playing well. Gavin Lee seems to be tying down centre back. Mightn't be as fantastic the last day, but yet Lee Chin didn't do much, like, and Pádraig Manning, he's playing very refreshed. You'd have to say that. Now they tried out David Burke again the last. They got his 2 points from play, but they probably sacrificed Tom Monaghan, who went in wing forward, probably more at home midfield. But like as Greg said there, I'd say Meehan doesn't mind in the sense that there's so many lads getting games, and lads coming on like Killian seems to be centre forward every day. They might have that, and Brian Buchanan got another run, maybe not fully fit yet, but getting there. And the last day you had Kevin Cooney coming on was very sharp when he came. Conor Cooney, anyone that subs that are coming on, Paul, are playing very, very well. And to be lovely to see. I don't know how he's fixed. I would love to see Cathal Mannion if he could go back into the mix again. But like they'll have a top. The subs are weak in the team, which is great. And they're flying in the sense that they're winning, which is lovely. Like after starting off poorly against Tip, now it was a weak team out against Tip. There's a lot stronger teams out now, and everyone is fighting for their place. And I'd say everyone is happy to get a run because it's soon going to end. Like you won't feel it going. We have 2 more games. If we get into a final, fantastic. But even if you don't, like you won't feel the middle of April coming. Like you count out the last week really. So like it's full steam ahead, and the team looks settled and. With the help of God, they'll keep going as they are. Young McLaughlin had a good first half. I don't know if he was injured or not now. I didn't think he'd be going off at half time, but maybe he pulled something. You just don't know. But again, the subs didn't weaken the team, which is great to see.
Just on the number 7 position, Cyril,
Yeah.
we've seen 3 different players wear the number 7 jersey across Galway's 4 games. They've been TJ Brennan, Killian Trayers, and Michael Garvey. It seems to be a position that's open at the minute.
Yeah, it's up for grabs. Like Jack Grealish is back the last day now. He had a good back corner back, lively. Under pressure, but still lively, played well. And as you say, like Michael Garvey had a good game in the sense he got great points from frees, long range frees, and the free that fell short from it wound up in the net. Like it was we went in 2 points up. Burns got into a ball that should have been clear. The cornerback caught it, went off his hand back to the goalie. He kind of flicked it up and hurled. And the minute he did, Burns in like a shot just tapped into the back of the net, and we went in 2 points up. So like it was a big break to get just before half time. That wing spot is vacant now. You see, they could do a lot of things. Like they could pick Garvin. I don't know. I thought they might try Morgan again. He's a good hurler. Loftus did nothing wrong. Or you could bring back Keenan Fahey if you wanted from midfield to wing back, and get another midfield with Tom Monaghan. Like there's a lot of lads up front coming on, and you could shuffle them around, but none of them will weaken the team. But that is a spot I'd say that's up for grabs. That number 7 spot, and there's 1 or 2 up front as well. But once they settle on it, Paul, like. There isn't much difference between a lot of lads, and like a lot of them depend. Like you could be on a very good lad or a kind of an ordinary lad. Like the last day for Limerick against Clare, like they played 2 lads that I never saw hurling, like a young Hanley lad and Stokes. Now even in the college scene in Limerick, I never came really across them. They came out of nowhere. No, they mightn't be on the next day, but like with English and O'Neill and these boys, they don't weaken the team, or O'Connor. They're all kind of pressing hard for places, and we'd have the same thing in Galway. Like the panel is strong. Like I don't think Wexford have the same panel, or Dublin, or these like that have 15 or 17, but they mightn't have the 23 or 4, which you nearly need now. Like with the games coming so fast, even in the championship, nearly one after another.
It was interesting too, Greg, to see Michael Garvey back in because hadn't played since the Tipperary game. But then there was obviously murmurings going around that he played in the challenge match then against Tipperary that Galway played in their off week in Ballingarry, and that seems to have stood to him. And even the last day coming in, stepping up to the long range freeze, it's interesting, and I suppose it's great to see him getting another chance.
Yeah, that's for sure. Look, he lasted 45 minutes the first day against Tipperary, I suppose, and he obviously done something right between the first game and on Sunday, or on Saturday. So look at it. In all fairness, he hit the free. He's been hitting the frees very well for Cap Tagle in club championship. So fair play for stepping up. He hit 3 the last day. Got 2 from play as well. Like he's a big solid man. Like I suppose the thing to factor in the last day was that there were 2 totally different games: the Limerick Clare game and the Galway Wexford game. Like the Galway Wexford game really turned into a game of frees. And in particular, when Lee Ching come on, like there was a lot of frees in the game, and I think there was a bit more intensity to the Limerick and Wexford game, or Limerick and Clare game. I suppose I think that's for me how I love to see how these players, the new players, Anthony Burns, the Michael Garveys, the Declan McLaughlins, the Colin Malloy, who come on and got a point the last day, see how these players react to Limerick, which like I think there was 17,000 below in Limerick the last day, like there was 5 below in Wexford. You know what I mean? Like, and Limerick will be out in fourth again the next day. I know Clare travelled big, but there'll probably be 10 or 12,000. So again, it's a different type of scenario. I don't think any of the new fresh lads would have experienced that. That'd be a good way to find out. But look, in terms of the backs and the six backs, like Dahi's going to come back in there somewhere anyway. Like, so whether he goes to 3 or he goes to 5 or what happens, I agree with Cyril. I think Shane Morgan. I'd love to see Shane Morgan get another crack. Daniel Loftus did nothing wrong against Clare that day. Did very well at cornerback. So it is open. I think Michael Garvey did well the last day. So, but I think Mihal, where he will want to try out in the next 2 games, and in particular, if it's a free shot, he will have championship in the back of his mind. And I'm sure every manager is looking to probably aim to have the last game in the league. If it's not the final, if you're getting close enough to your starting 15, you don't want to have too many gaps. Like, and you're just touching on Limerick there. I know Nicky Quaid is out for the year more than likely. Maybe not, maybe. But Nicky Quaid, Dan Morrissey, Sean Finn, Declan Hannon, Kyle Hayes, Wildon Who, Garrod Tegerty, Tom Morrissey, and Dara Donovan, who didn't really feature the last day. Tom Morrissey only came on for the last 5 minutes. So they have an awful lot more to get back than Galway. Will they be back the next day? I don't think so. Obviously, there's a lot of them that aren't even close to coming back. But I'm sure John Kiley would prefer to be in Mihal's shoes in terms of having his team close to being his starting 15. So, albeit they're more experienced and all that. But don't, in saying that, Limerick have proven as well, like Barry Murphy, who's been on the panel for 6-7 years. He's been nearly man of the match in 2 out of the first 3 games. He's been very good at cornerback. So, like, they are bringing lads through. Like Colin Coughlin's done very well. He's had a really good Fitzgibbon campaign, captain UL. Obviously, Adam English, I think, is one of the top prospects in the country. He's very good the last time before he got split open, and like he's going to have a big part to play. So, like, these lads aren't going to exactly walk into the team. And I think that the next day, I imagine he will make a lot of changes, Kylie, again the next day, and bring back some of the older heads where possible. But the likes of Adam English, Colin Coughlin, and Barry Murphy in particular, they're not going to lose their jerseys too easy. The goalie position, I still think, is going to be a big factor for Limerick. Like, I just think that, like, he didn't really look too confident on the high balls the last day. There was 2 or 3 of them put into in the second half, and it was just, he got lucky 1 or 2, and I think that could be a massive factor. And I think Galway really needs to test that the next day and see how it goes.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one. It seems to be for Limerick so far that it's pre-planned. The games Dowling and the games Gillane are going to play, considering Dowling was supposed to play the Kilkenny game and then Gillane came back in. So it's if the Kilkenny game was played, it would have been 2 each for both of them. So that's interesting in one sense. On the full-back position this year for Galway, sir, do you think it's a battle between Fintan Burke and Dahi Burke this year?
Yeah, well, like Dahi Burke is one of is it 4 or 5 or 6 All-Stars full back, like, and a lot of people be saying, like, why take him over? But like, he's been injured a bit, like, and Fintan Burke has done nothing wrong. Now, you see, they could still put Dahi when they get him fully fit in full back and put maybe Fintan Burke wing back. That's another, Fintan Burke is good under the high ball, but he's playing very, very well full back. He's very solid, he's getting, like, the last, if you're picking a fella for the 70 minutes, he was winning his ball the whole time, and he has a great kind of ability to come out of the ball and get it free on the way out. Like he's able to get kind of underneath the lads coming out, and they seem to be hooking him around his neck to hold them as a hurler. But he's good at it, and if he has 2 fast cornerbacks, like, any fullback that gets turned will be in trouble. But like, he holds his own very strong, like, and he's improved. I think he's improving every day in it because he's playing a lot in it. Now, Dahi Burke is kind of a natural, you could play him anywhere, but that's, you need that kind of cover. Like, if God forbid if Dahi did get injured, Fintan would fit in straight away, or vice versa. But like, you prefer to have both of them, I'd say, and that could happen if you had everyone. Like, Mihal, they'll have fun picking their team when they have everyone available. Even picking the 26, like, because they're all well able to hurl, and even Greg mentioned there, young Conor Malloy came on the last day, didn't look out of place at all. Very natural corner forward, lovely wrists and lovely hands, like a kind of a natural sidestep in him. A natural corner forward, not physically that strong yet, but still a very good player. And Conor Whelan is in there every day. Like, he has yet to ignite, but he could explode as the year goes on, which he will. Like, there's no doubt about it, he'll still come. Anthony Burns having, any chance he's got, he's taking it. Now, he had, like, the ball isn't going in there that much. Like, the modern game, it's around the middle third, a lot of shots going from outside rather than feeding the full forward line the whole time. That could change as the year goes on. But like Greg has referred to it there, like, if Limerick picked a fairly good, strong team, it would be a great test for Mihal and the lads to see where they really stand. Because, like, we've played Clare, who hadn't really a strong team out, like, and that's not our fault. But like, Limerick would be the strongest team coming, and the last one against Cork, because like Cork, if they would kind of be looking maybe to get into a league final as well, like, and I would love to get in there. People say, no, it's terrible. It does you no harm if you can keep winning, and you learn something every day. Even if you
Doesn't
lost and you still learn something, it's no harm at all. And you're playing competitive games. Like, even if you're free, you're probably looking for a challenge game. So that'd be better than any challenge game. So there'll be big crowd Saturday evening. A lot of lads go early to see the rugby match and then tip off down to the pitch to see the hurling match.
doesn't it doesn't it just show though, sir, with Anthony Burns, like even the last day, people saying he has a quiet game, but like you'll take that if people say he's having a quiet game, and he still comes away with 1-1.
Yeah, well, like that's what he's doing all year with Loughrea as well. You must know that that starts off playing, that special B competition that's
Yeah,
run by a club in
Trinity.
Limerick, not
Yeah,
not not by Crow Park, and that's where he started from. Kind of the base is low, but he's improved every year. Like, and then Loughrea had a good run. Like, and you're talking about Loughrea there, lads. If they have, they have, say, they have McManus to come back up front. They have lads coming back from injury from last year. They'll be stronger this year. They'll have fun picking their team as well, because of a few like Jamie Ryan will be back fully at it. Like, all these lads will be on the team. So like it'll be interesting. Like, they'll be going hot headed for two in a row, like to get one back to back. But going back to Galway, like, I thought Tom Monaghan, like, his games midfield have been very good. Now, he played wing forward the last. He's still okay, but he's more involved in midfield, and he likes that kind of role of kind of dipping in and dipping down. And Brian Concannon did a lot of work back deep, like in the half back line. But you have to be very fit for that game, going up and down the pitch, because at times you're inclined to hit the ball from a half back up to where you should be yourself. But like, if the more games he gets, you'll find that he'll come into it a lot more, and he's still a good player.
on it from the last day, then Craig, even to get David Burke back on the pitch, his first out in 2025, huge positive. More minutes into Brian Concannon, more minutes into Kevin Cooney. Like it's just a great situation to be in, because Galway seem to be getting more and more players back each day they go out now.
Yeah, and in particular the experience one, like Conor Cooney come on and obviously showed his experience, scored 1-2, hit the penalty when he needed to hit it, and Davy obviously could see, and it'd be interesting to see what Michael does with Davy in terms of game management as well, like, leading up to the last two games and stuff like that. So it is, look, you need them all. Like, and it's good to see Pino back, and he's getting a run of games as well without injury. Like, he's probably been playing there the last 2 years. He's good experience as well. Sean Lennon obviously comes on and does his bit as well, as he has been doing the last couple of years. And look, it'd be great just to get Cahill back, as Cyril mentioned earlier on there. Like, he's a massive, massive, massive cog of the wheel there with Galway. Like, and he's on his day, like, he's as good as what's in the county, like, so, or in the country. So he will be a big plus to get back. Obviously Jason wasn't involved the last day as well. Like, so they're all experience that you need to help along with the young lads. Like, I suppose that, as Cyril mentioned, when everyone is fit and everyone is ready, the good thing about Michal is he's going to have a headache picking the 26 or the team. And I suppose that's the way to have it. Like, have Michal wondering, does he put Dahi in, or does he put Clinton at 3 and 6 and or 5 and 3? So to have everyone back will be good. It's good the young lads are pushing as well. Like, but again, it's just, I suppose, and again, Cyril touching it there a few minutes ago. It will be good to see. I'd love to see Limerick go out a strong team. Like, I don't see Hurley or Stoke starting the next day. What will they do? Will Hegarty be back for the wing? Will Declan Hannon go to 6? Will Kyle Hayes be back for 6? Like, that's, if they do put out a strong team like that, how will Anthony Burns react to Barry Nash on him, or Barry Murphy, or if it's Mike Casey, or just to see these lads in action, like, in particular, Finton's had a really good game, but in a 3 full back line. If he goes out again, Limerick will be a 2 full back line. So who does he pick up? Is it Seamus Flanagan inside? Is it Aaron Gillan inside? Shane O'Brien was very good at the start of the game. The last day should have had 1-1, or should have had a goal at the start of the game. Like, he's another man that will test out the Galway full back line. So there's loads of questions about this new Galway look. Have they been asked yet, to a certain degree? But I think if Limerick goes strong on Saturday, it'll really show where Galway are at the minute. And it'd be great if you could get a victory against Limerick on Saturday. It'd be absolutely brilliant going into the last game against Cork, because that's going to be an absolute. That'll be massive. You could have 25,000 down there in the last league game in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. So it's a big game for the newcomers. Definitely, just to see where they're at, and as Cyril mentioned earlier on, likes the Shane Morgan, there's Gillian Trayers, or the Dan Loftus, or these lads. Does me, I'll give them a game again the next day, or or does he hold them out for Cork, or is he just going to stay with the solid, tried and tested, and see where it's at? Like, and I suppose every Galway fan is licking their lips at that now. The fact that it's three wins out of four, whatever he does, it's going to be right in it.
Would you see David Burke as a starter or a sub this year?
Well, like he has a lot of experience, and even having the panel, like it'd be good for the lads coming in. Like he can lead by example even without playing. If you know what I mean. I wouldn't see him. I don't think he'd be starting, but like he could be coming in to say to hold on to a lead, which we're very good at. Like maybe coming in say kind of as a kind of wing forward or midfielder, dropping back kind of in behind the half back there in front of it and reading and directing the. Like he's great at directing the play. Like he's a top player. No, he has a lot of mileage on his legs. Like there's no doubt about that. Like, but I would see him kind of more or less as an impact coming on as starting. But you never know. Like like David Burke is a rare breed. Like like he came back from an injury ahead of time, won an All Ireland, and like after coming back, like club he's just a born leader. Like, and he has the qualities. Like he's just in him. You know what I mean? That's the type he is. Like, and he has given fantastic service, but that won't come into it when it comes down to the big call. But no, I wouldn't see him starting, but I would see him coming on like as a kind of a lad that a kind of direct kind of the shape of the game when you might be losing shape.
And even last day, sir, he looked sharp for
Oh
Manver's
yeah, well,
first
like he was
outing.
going to take his chance. It's a while since he was playing. Like he hasn't played say for Galway since he was sent off that day against Dublin. Like, and he didn't want to go out that way. Knowing him, he wasn't going to go out that way. So he's prepared to give it a full shot again. Connor Cooney, the same thing. Jason Flynn, these are around a long time, but it's still great to have them because they're used to the big time. And even going on as a sub and doing it isn't as simple. Some days, as Greg will tell you, go on say with 10 minutes to go or 12. You might get on a lot of ball, but for another day you mightn't get onto the ball at all. Like it wouldn't be your fault. It just won't. Like you just can't get there in that short of time. And you have to have these as with experience because with the games are going now, you're not going to wind up with the same 15, and you're going to need with up and down the pitch, you're going to need subs going on with injuries. So you're going to need everyone. And with the games coming thick and fast, like God forbid you get a hamstring now, like to start the championship, you're probably gone for most of it. So you're going to need them all. But I would see David like as a kind of as an impact player now.
Even the last day when you look at it on the Wexford game, Craig, up by 7 points at one stage, and Wexford come like a storm towards the end, and they get the gap back to 2 points, but they can't force that winner that they so desperately wanted. But that's a huge positive as well to not lose that game on Saturday.
Yeah, and there's been stages in the past where that has happened on Wexford Park, and if they get a run, you like that, the crowd is very intense, and it's happened to us in the past where you will get caught out, like, and even to defend the last free there that Mark Fanning took, that could have in the times gone by, you see that flying in past your head, but no, in all fairness, it was good. It was good. It was probably would have been better if we could just hold on to the lead opposed to letting them back in, and I think Leaching got 5 frees after coming on, and it was just. It's probably just no need for them really. Like, and I suppose, but look, the positive is the whole point going down was just getting the 2 points and leaving, and that was it. Smash and grab and go, and it's a hard place to go. But I suppose to be just come back to the next day, it'll be a totally different setup the next day, and a totally different atmosphere, and a totally different game. So, like, I think that the Limerick team that we see in the last, it will be totally different as well. Like, and just to touch on it, like the Limerick half back line we're so used to seeing of Kyle Hayes and Jimmer Burns and Declan Hannon. Like Jimmer Burns will be suspended the next day, so you're going to be left with Kyle or Colin Coughlin and Hurley at 6. I don't think that's going to be they're going to line out. Like, and I think that's been the launch pad. Like, and if you actually look back to what made Limerick so strong over the years, they had a launch pad of a half back line that no ball got through. They got so many scores from, and the distribution was so good, and had a really good goalie to distribute. So I'm sure John Kiley will be looking at it this week and saying, if we go into this Galway game with the same directive as we did the last day, we will be taken apart. So I imagine there'll be big changes across the half back line there. The next day, and it'll be interesting to see how Galway react to that. Keane Lynch was very quiet as well the last day, so like there's loads of different battles the next day that'll be very interesting to see, and I actually can't wait to see how Galway reacts.
Is the not the lack of ball winners, but at stages Galway do seem to be struggling to win the primary possession from their own puckouts in the half forward line. Is that a concern?
Yeah, well, yeah, it is a concern, but like it's it's a thing you have to work on, because if you haven't the ball, if you haven't possession, you're in trouble. Like, and most people now are crowding that middle third, like is very, very crowded. It's hard for midfielders, because there's instead of being 2-on-2 out there, there's about 8 out there, if not more. And you have to scrap for every ball, and there might be a lot of rooks and that. Like, and Limerick are kind of good at that, but they were missing their midfielders. They told them the last day. But like there's no doubt about, like, Keenan Fahey and Tom Monaghan as a partnership, they were going well midfield. Like, they were doing very well in the first matches that I saw. Like, and you'd want them doing well again. But Greg is hitting there, like, in the head. If Limerick goes strong, it'll be a great test for our team in general, to really let us know where we are. And to be fair to the team so far, like, all they can do is beat what's, like, unless for the first day when it was a kind of a weak team enough out, they've beaten what's in front of them. So that's all you can do, and they'll be getting, like, a bit of the morale will be built up in the camp again. Like, the followers will start coming. Okay, we hadn't down many down in Wexford. That's a long trip, and you'll have a lot more in Limerick next Saturday night. And you'll need them all, because, like, there'll be a big crowd there, and they'll get behind the home team. But coming out of Wexford, like, it's not an easy place to get. They had plenty of chances. Eventually, like, Casey was on the freeze, and he was getting some and missing some. But eventually, when they got Leach in on the freeze, he nailed 5 one after another. Brought them back into the game, and coming out the gate, we're saying, why didn't we have on the whole time? But I still think Galway deserved to win. And, like, we let them back into it, but every time we went up to the centre, we looked very, very dangerous once we got the ball. Big thing was to get it, because Limerick are Wexford are good scrappers. Like, they're fierce, great heart, and never give up. Like, maybe their hurling mightn't be the best in the world, but, like, it's not easy there to go and win, and it's not easy to go down to Limerick and win either. But, like, if they can go down there on Saturday, like, and get a win, like, it set them up, like, more than not alone the league, but I think for the year, because you'll be making a statement. Because in most people's eyes, like, Limerick are still the favourites for the All Ireland, even though they didn't win it last year. So, like, it'd be a great one to go down to their backyard and beat them.
This could really launch pad the season. I know it's only the league, but to get a win down here against Limerick in the Gaelic grounds would be massive.
Well, it would be massive. There's no doubt about, like, yeah, it would be massive, because, like, they'll want to win. They have only 3 points. They need to get 2 more points to even to feel safe. Like, like, a league won't count to Limerick. If they win a league and don't win the All Ireland, it won't count to them. They're at that level, no more than Clare. But, like we could do it a league, and Tip could do it a league, and Cork could do it a league, just to get a win. But, like, if we can go down there, if you can travel to Wexford and win, and travel to Limerick and win, you're making a great statement. Like.
Particularly even, Craig, for the younger players to get a result like this against such a proven team would be massive as well.
Would be huge, yeah, like, absolutely huge. It'd be the biggest result so far over the 5 or the 5 games. But again, I think it'll be another level. Like, it's going to be such a step up, like, in what they played, and we've touched on it there, like, in terms of the teams that have gone out. Galway probably didn't have their strongest team out the first day against Tipperary. They didn't, and then in the last 3 games, they're out taking it for them like that. I suppose they're probably not playing, like, Wexford would be obviously the bottom team, and Clare not their strongest team. But look, all you can do is take the positives, because in particular, like, they're on a great curve. The lads are very happy with how things are going inside, and all the players are very happy with how the lads obviously are, what they've brought. And if you were Mihal and Franny and Noel and Aidan and Eamon, and you said at the start of the year that we'd be 3 out of 4 in the league leading into the Limerick game, that absolutely pulled the hand off you for it. So they couldn't be any happier, I'd say. But I just think that this will be an absolute tester now of this team. Like, and I just hope that like, what we've seen so far in the league, that if we bring the same level and the same fight and want, the first game, that we will be thereabouts on Saturday against this. As Cyril mentioned, the favourites for Ireland, without a doubt.
Particularly even when you're thinking of it, Sir Loan's really given Galway a chance at all to overturn Limerick this weekend. Everyone expects Limerick just to bring back all the bigger players this weekend and get a result.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I would. I think Galway would be to me, Galway would play better than Limerick, in the sense, you see, you can bring back all the big players and they can be fit, but it isn't like a tap, Paul, you turn on the water and the water just flows. Like, you saw Clare back the second last year, plenty of players back, and they couldn't get going at all. You need to be hurling. And you saw, say, Tom Morrissey coming up the last day back from holidays, and sure, like, he couldn't get near the ball, really, like. So, like, they'll need to put out fellas that haven't that much hurling done. If they have Dan Morrissey back, say, for full back instead of Mike Casey, you could see Mike going corner back, and the likes of Barry Murphy could come centre back. He plays centre back for Doon, and he's a very good hurler. He wouldn't weaken the centre back spot. But like you have Coughlin in, who's a good wing back playing for College, maybe a bit slow, but Jimmy Burns will be gone. But they're still kind of lacking. Like Galway are more settled than Limerick. There's more pressure on Limerick in the sense that they feel they'll have to win at home. There isn't. It's a free shot for Galway. But Greg has kind of referenced it there. But if the young lads would say the young lads or new lads can go down there and beat Limerick, like it give them great confidence. They won't. I mean, they won't say it out loud, and every manager will be saying it's only the league. But like if you lost every game in the league, you see what will happen as well. You know what I mean? If you saw the team talk that Tony Kelly gave before the Clare Limerick game the last day, Tony got into the middle of the huddle and organised a team around him, and he was at full flow. In other words, he was putting down the marker. This wasn't just a game. They wanted performance. Now, if we could get you'd love to win, but if we could get a top performance from the team, and they'd have to give that against in Limerick down there because they will be outnumbered. Well, Limerick will have a big foul on. They'll be mad for blood, shall we say? It'll be a great test for Gavin Lee as well. These fellas, and if Micheál Garvey will be on or not, that'll be the real test down there because these lads, Adam English and O'Neill, they're good hurlers. They'll probably be on the starting 15 this year, even with the big names back. So it's a game to look forward to, and we're in a fantastic position when you consider after the Tip game, like everyone's saying, well, what's Micheál going to do? But he has turned the thing completely around, and it's great to see.
If you're to look at the Galway 15 this weekend that could potentially line out against Limerick, it seems that Dark Valley has the number 1 jersey, and he probably will start again in goals this weekend. Do you think, Craig, that they'll stick with the same full back line of Grealish, Finton and Darren Morrissey?
I reckon so, yeah. I don't see, Dahi's not going to be back anyway. He's still out, so I can't see why they wouldn't. As Cyril mentioned, the two lads are doing really well. Corner and Finton's having a great league campaign so far, so not much need for change there.
Seems Porrick Mannion and Gavin Lee will stay in the half-back line. Who do you think will wear the 7 jersey then, Saturday night?
I suppose, Keenan maybe go back in the past, like we mentioned, Dan Loftus played cornerback, Killian Traor's wing back, Jay Morgan played at 6. Ronnie Glynn is another fella who hasn't really featured at all.
Yeah, he's been injured.
Yeah, he had a big 2 years ago. He was a big player for Galway. He's another lad there now that could slot into wing back very easily. If he gets a run of fitness going, so he could be there. I suppose Lucas, he has made changes in every game so far. So if he keeps up that, you wouldn't know he could change it up there and completely and go with something totally different. But as you mentioned earlier on at the start of the podcast, I think Tom Monaghan's best position is midfield, so I'd imagine he'll come back out to midfield again.
Would you see them sticking with Michael Garvey again, sir? There, how would you see it?
Yeah, he could try a new fella. He has plenty. He'd be tiddling around. He could, yeah. He could change the goalie as well now. Young Murphy could get a run again. I think he was nearly picked for the last week and he got injured in training. He got stitches in his knee or something. You see, Micheál will give everyone if you look at it, is he 36 or 7 played? They're all getting games or half games. I think, in the position he's in, he can give fellas games because he's safe. That's the big thing. There's no one too worried. He's not too worried about a league final. He'll be the championship. So he will be running fellas. I think Cathal Mannion, if he's right, he'll get 20 minutes or 30. If you could, we'd love to see him back. Kevin Cooney came on the last day, looked sharp. Conor Cooney came on, looked good. Even the young Conor Malloy came on, looked good. They all, some of them could get a start. Maybe Malloy will be thrown in at the deep end. Now that'll be deep in, but they're going to have to face that kind of stuff anyway. Because above in Croke Park, if we're going to compete, the big ones will be in Croke Park or Thurles, and you'll be in it. It's no point of going into deep end. Then it's very hard. So he can experiment because he's in that position. He's in a great position.
In midfield, Cyril, it's interesting because we have David Burke who came back in there the last day. Tom Monaghan and Keenan have been there, and then there's obviously Sean Linan too. Do you give him a start because Sean Linan's only really been coming on throughout the league?
Yeah, he could get a start, or he could get a start wing back. And Greg has referenced there to, I don't know how fit he is now, back from injury. Ronan Glennon, he was kind of, going well midfield or wing, he can play in the half back then. But yeah, you could like there's a lot of things he could do, like, but the boys with him they'll know, like these guys know their hurling, they know the lads inside out, and you know no matter who to put in there, you'll find he'll be okay. But like, you know, if you're on the likes of, say, if they have the Donovans and Donovan back from midfield, the likes of English now and you know O'Neill, they're good hurlers, and there mightn't be much talk about them, but they're good players and they're new enough. Like they'll be pushing hard, they'll be bursting to play well for Limerick if they get on in the forwards, because they're natural forwards, like, you know. So it'd be great to see them out there and kind of get a real test. I don't know, like you could go Loftus had a nice game, cornerback. What you call, like Morgan played very well against Kilkenny, down in Kilkenny, which was a great win as well. Not an easy place to go, and he did it. Everything he did was nice and tidy and neat. You know, they could try him wing back, but you just, you know, whatever they try, whoever goes on, will burst themselves to try to impress anyway. Because if you don't, you mightn't get the chance again.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one because he's obviously tried the 36 players, and now it's hard to know what they do this weekend. Will he tear up the script again and make more changes, or will he stick with the same again? So it's interesting in that sense. Up front, Craig, would you say more or less the same again, or?
Well, it depends on Declan McLaughlin if he was off injured at half time and he can't feature. I presume Evan will probably get more game time as well leading into the last two games. He hasn't really played much of the league. And Kevin Cooney, I'd like to see get Kevin more game time as well. Like I know he's only come back from injury, so he's probably pacing him in terms of minutes he's given and stuff like that. But Kevin, I think, is a big part to play this year. He was absolutely flying before he got injured. So yeah, Kevin, like I wouldn't be surprised if he was trying the deep into the weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if Evan came back in and featured. I expect Tom Monaghan to go back out to midfield, which will free up the position there as well. Kieran Killeen and Beano are going very well. Anthony Burns and Wheelo will be the two inside, I'd imagine. So Declan McLaughlin question mark, and maybe if Tom Monaghan goes to midfield to replace some, maybe Evan might get some game time, or Kevin Cooney, or even Connor might come in as well. Connor hasn't played much in the league either.
Is the big thing we need to solve before the championship who the free taker is going to be?
There's been a good variance in free takers now, right? Between everything between Tiernan hit them, Connor obviously hit them when he came on. Michael Garvey's been hitting them in the back. Pádraig Mannion's been hitting them in the back. So that is probably, like, obviously Evan and Connor the last 2 years, 3 years have been over and back between them. Look, on their day, they're both very capable free takers. I don't think that's going to be much of a problem, but it's just, I suppose it'll all come down to, will the two of them start at the same time, and what way he looks at it. Like Anthony Burns really looks like at the minute like it's very hard to drop him, like, so that'll be an extra forward that wasn't there last year. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Very, very similar free takers. They don't miss much to them.
Who would you have as the free taker, sir?
Who are you on to?
No, just to you there, Cyril. I was just going to
Yeah.
say, who would your
Well,
free taker?
I think, like, you know, Evan Nyland is a good free taker, great free taker. Conor Coney is a great free taker. Killian mightn't be just as good, like mightn't be 9 out of 10, you know, but a good free taker. Kevin Cooney takes him to the club. Jason Flynn takes him to the club. They're all good free takers, but like you can't carry, you know, if Evan is playing, he'd probably be free. He'd be on the freeze, and I don't think Conor Coney will be on. If Conor Coney's on, I don't think Evan will be on. If you know what I mean. Don't think you can carry two free takers, but you need a free taker that's 9 out of 10. Definitely, like you just need one that you can rely on. Like, and definitely, like both Conor Coney and Evan Island are top free takers. There's no doubt about that. And you need that now in the modern game, because like it's okay getting one here and getting 2 out of 4 and 5 out of 8, but you need to be higher than that. Like, you know, like it's so vital in the modern game. Like you just have to have one that you feel like, to be fair to the boys when they're going to take the freeze, you feel that they're going to score them. You know, and that's a big plus.
Just one question, lads, that came in from a listener before we finish, from Finster on Twitter. The question is, will Galway be physical enough for Limerick? Uh, That's obviously the big challenge coming up now this weekend, Craig. Like we see all these younger players, but we're probably going to know physically are some of these players ready or not coming away from Saturday night.
Yeah, and look, no better test than actually the standard bearers for the last 5 or 6 years. it depends on the Limerick team that goes out. I think if the Limerick team that the experienced Limerick team goes out, it could be a massive test in terms of physicality for a lot of the new Galway players. Um, like in particular the younger lads, Anthony Burns, obviously he's S&C has been absolutely brilliant, and he's well able to mix it and match it as we've seen so far. In particular, the Clare game, where the game is a bit slower, physically very strong. But I suppose the likes of Declan McLaughlin and Tiernan Killeen and the younger lads that are coming on there, I suppose that'll be the big test for them. If you actually look at the Limerick team and the team that have lined out the last 3 or 4 games, the likes of the Shane O'Briens, Adam English's, Colin Coughlin's, Cathal O'Neill, they're all around the same age, very early 20s, and they've been on the panel for the last 3 years, and their S&C is absolutely, they're as strong and physical now as any of the Limerick lads. In particular, Shane O'Brien and Colin Coughlin, they're two very big lads. Adam English is well able to mix it, he's fast, and Cathal O'Neill has grown. He's been on the panel now for 4 years. So I suppose, and I think that's where Micheál is probably looking at the likes of Jason Rabbit and Aaron Nyland and Sean Murphy. They're 19 years of age now, and he's probably looking to have them at that stage when they hit 22, 23, that they're, Cathal O'Neill is a very similar stature to Aaron Nyland. He's tall, but he's filled out now, and the way John Kiley has managed those lads has been, and I know it's easy for them to manage them because you've such a good strong 15, you don't need to use them, but like the likes of Cathal O'Neill and Adam English in particular, they would have been starting on every other inter-county senior team at 19, 20 years of age. They're that good, but he was able to give them time and get their S&C right. So I think that'll be it's a great question. I think that it'll be a great test. And even the likes of Gavin Lee, I suppose, is a good example of similar with Galway, where Henry brought him in 3 years ago, and he's now grown into a big, strong man. And to be able to mix it as a centre back now in inter-county is no easy feat. So Gavin's S&C has been brilliant. He's got very strong. He's well able to mix it. And when he came onto the panel when he was 19, he was only a little bit so he's put on a lot of strength, and I suppose he's really a good example of what Micheál is trying to do with them 3 younger lads, and there's a few other young lads there. So yeah, it will be a big test, 100%. And if them younger lads do start next year for Galway, and the older lads start for Limerick, it'll be a big question, and it'll be very interesting to see how it goes.
It's a great situation to be in as well, sir, because physically for every Galway player that plays here, the battles are really going to, even from management, they're going to learn a lot about these players on Saturday night.
Oh yeah, but I don't think all have any fear as regards physical strength. They're all on the programs, and they're had a few years. And Greg is right there. It takes a few years for a fella to become kind of accustomed to the senior standard and get kind of relaxed in the dressing room with the lads. Gavin Lee is in there a while. Niall, and they're all in there a little while, and that's no harm. You need to be there. It isn't just a simple get on, come straight in from an under-20 set up, or being 19 or 20, get onto a county team straight away and shine, because it doesn't work like that anymore. The strength and conditioning has gone up a notch, and you have to get up there with that. But our lads are there just as good as anyone else, and it will be a great test. But I don't think they'll fear anything like that at all, because you look at Clare, Clare are the one team that has no fear of Limerick, and they seem to rise to Limerick. Now I know every team is different, but I would have no fear about Galway playing Limerick. But it will be a good test. And if Limerick have a good team picked, if they pick, say, 9 or 10 of the lads that you kind of really know, not 5 or 6 of them, it'll tell Micheál where he really stands with these players, where they are. And that's what he wants, really. That's what you want. If you can have 13 places nailed down going out of the league, it'd be fantastic for the championship, because our first game in the championship is against Kilkenny. And they're not going to be any easy. They're not going to be an easy kind of a fix when it comes around, because we've beaten below in the league. They were only just beaten the last day in in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. That game could have gone either way. And they're always hard to beat. And I think they've come across a gym. A lad came on, Paul, for Kilkenny the last day against Cork, called Pádraig Moylan. New fella, strong, raw.
Oh, he was on
from
the
Dicksboro. But
DCU Fitzgibbon, wasn't he?
yeah, but he's a good player.
Yeah.
He won't weaken the team. He's another find for them now. And they get everyone up front. If they have John Donnelly fully fit again, and TJ coming on, say, and Mullen fully fit again, they have a few good forwards to come back, and they'll be still hard to beat. They're going to be the team to beat in Leinster when all is said and done. You know what I mean? They might go well in the league or bad, but they'll still be the hardest team to beat in Leinster, I think, when everything is comes to a final end.
When you're even talking about Kilkenny being the first game, as a former manager, sir, like, and you're looking at these two games, Limerick and Cork, it is really such a good situation to be in that you're playing probably the two favourites for the All Ireland in your last two games in the league.
Oh yeah, sure. It's like you can judge a player then like if the weather is kind of nice, no real big storm, like if it's an ordinary day, be fantastic. Now I know it's at night under lights, but you kind of know who you are, and it'll suit me all in his management to see them against even away from home, going into a kind of a tough environment, both in Limerick and in Cork, and like what better place to learn? Like, and at least he'll know where he stands going into the championship, which is what he wants because like he'll know, like going down to after having a great victory in Nolan Park, like Kilkenny will be sharp in themselves. They felt we outmuscled them in Nolan Park, and I can guarantee you, like they'll be set up for that game, the first one especially to put down a marker. But like it could, I think we could have a fantastic season. Like I can see us, going down to Kilkenny, trying to beat them there, meet them again, probably in a Leinster final, try to beat them there. And it isn't beyond the bounds of possibilities. It could wind up in the final against you. Like they're so hard to put away. Because while all the talk is about the Munster teams, maybe they're not as strong as people think. Like, that a small little thing can change the whole season. And the season's up for grabs. To me now, like Limerick wouldn't be as hot as favourites as people are making it out to be, because like Munster is a minefield, and you just don't know what can happen down there.
Yeah, they're two great games to finish with, aren't they, Craig?
Oh, yeah, I couldn't have asked for better, like especially away, like in the way it fell. And I suppose the fact that we gave up home advantage, or Limerick gave up home advantage in the league last year, we had to face them away this year. So three away games, like last three games the league, Wexford, Limerick, and Cork is no easy feat. But for Michal is licking his lips as well because he's actually getting to see what the players are about in these last three games. So no, look, don't get me wrong. Even for myself and Cyril there in particular, a Limerick game is nearly a home game. It's closer than the stadium, but it's should draw a big crowd. I'm hoping to draw a big crowd on Saturday evening. There should be a big Galway crowd there, I'd say, because it's as easy access as the stadium. So it is.
Yeah, it is Galway Limerick Saturday night. It's live on TG4 as well in the Allianz Hurling League. But that's all we do have time for on this evening's show. Thanks to Craig and Cyril for coming on.